Hello everybody, this is SanchoWest and this is my Wrestlemania 41 Night 1 review. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'm a little bit under the weather and we still got Night 2 right around the corner. If you like wrestling and you want to hear deep thoughts and things of that sort, I am a co-host of the Wrestling School podcast. You can check that out, but always sub here as well. It's greatly appreciated so we can grow this channel here on YouTube. Let's talk about Wrestlemania Night 1. It as a whole, I do feel that Wrestlemania was a kind of tale of two manias. It wasn't really kind of organically built crescendoing to the main event. It felt very lopsided. I feel like we got a lot of TV type quality matches. It's surrounded with the hype of WrestleMania 41, and just like WrestleMania 40, Night 1 did not have a lot of pomp and circumstances. You did have a little bit of unique entrances, but it didn't have that pizzazz that we're about to watch WrestleMania, brother, until it got into the title matches. I think you kind of got a little taste of that, especially with the LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. Tiffany, Stratton, and Charlotte Flair didn't really have that much of a Mania pop, but definitely when we got to that main event of Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk, we got that feeling of we're about to watch something magical, historical, and definitely would be the match to remember at the end of the day. Now you may be going, not so fast, what about Jay Uso and Gunther? Let's talk about Jay Uso and Gunther. I was quite surprised how the pacing of this match went. I did foresee that this match would go down this way in terms of Jay Uso selling very exhausted, beaten down, a la what he did in Night 1 of Netflix, Raw Netflix against Drew McIntyre. He was kind of beaten down. He was looking like he was going to get wasted and things of that sort, but all of a sudden he was able to sneak away and grab the dub. So it was quite interesting that they kind of went that route. And what makes it most interesting as well is that Gunther, the way he went out. Now, Jay Uso basically did exactly a playbook from Gunther, just stored up his finishers and destroyed him. But I'm surprised that Triple H booked it in a way to have Jay Uso choke out Gunther. And typically you would like a Gunther to kind of pass out, but that's a babyface thing to do, a la Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart. But instead, you did not have that. You had Gunther literally tapping out the Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso, in which it's a very interesting way to kind of write out your villain of this entire story. And the heavyweight title reign would be interesting to see how Gunther, gets back to form as someone that who's already, when he loses, he goes into what we call in the community shy Gunther, and he's unsure of himself. And it's a Gunther that we don't want to see. So I am quite shocked that they gave Jey Uso that power to take out Gunther. But if you could look at the way it was built and considering that he did obliterate his brother Jimmy Uso, it's a very justified thing to do when it comes to babyface. When I look at wrestling booking, babyface and heels, I always feel like the action of the heels always has to be counterbalanced by the babyface or vice versa. If a heel obliterates your brother, then the finish has to be stronger, because that's the only way that the babyface will come out on top, and I'm a little bit more. So I feel like a lot of people, and you may out there listening, may have that reason like, ooh, if he didn't do this to Gunther. But I'm quite interested to see how the WWE books Gunther going forward. And the New Day and the War Raiders, I feel like this is definitely a TV match. I feel like a lot of the Mania of revolving Night 1 felt very sponsorship heavy. It was like, man, I guess we're having this match because of Clash of the Castles. And I am a content creator. I understand you got to get the bag. Totally justifiable. But when you have the wrestlers dressed like the game, it's a little bit much. I always enjoy the kind of sponsorships where it's just like on the apron or on the LED, and it doesn't really kind of interfere as much. And I feel like a lot of the beginning of this Mania had that sponsorship heavy, but it's WrestleMania, bro. It's the biggest show that the WWE has, and sure, get the bag all around. One of the interesting things that I noticed, because as I was watching WrestleMania, I'm editing clips and I'm posting them on my reactions for Instagram, and I've noticed that there's a lot of weird flow to these matches. Like, they have a beginning, but they don't have a middle, and they get to the end. It was very strange because traditionally in a WWE match, you get that nice beginning, middle, and end where you're like, okay, we're going to head home to the end. But it felt like a lot of it just skipped the middle point. And that was this match. And a lot of the matches that were not the main event and some of the highlights of the WrestleMania were like that way. But as I was editing, I was like, well, okay, well, there was this moment here, and then it's already over. And a lot of people during my watch party that I have on Twitch was realizing the same thing, that the build to these things in terms of the ending was felt kind of rushed and a little bit sporadic all over the place. So I don't know where New Day kind of heel way stops the War Raiders were in the War Machine, and the New Day win in that heel finish. And I don't mind this. I know War Raiders never got a fair shake at building up the tag team division. They really didn't defend the title that many times. But I just don't see if you have criticism against the New Day being like very cheap heat, heelish, where they're not giving that much as they started off so strongly with the Big E heel turn that they were never able to capture that. I think they definitely have more layers than the War Raiders, and at least give something War Raiders to chase after. And I think we're going to get a new tag team on the Raw after Mania to get this kind of excitement to get New Day going again. And I think it's the right choice to have New Day as champions. Jay Cargill, Naomi. This is a very historical match. This is the first women's match that didn't have any kind of stipulation or any kind of championship to it. It was just two women and hating each other. That was really cool to see. I predicted that Naomi would go down in a squash match at Jade Cargill. I still wish that happened. Jade Cargill, Naomi, the longer went on, you still see a little bit of the holes in the game with Jade Cargill. Naomi did a great job getting a new entrance and now completing the complete picture of what heel Naomi looks like. And I absolutely liked it. I liked that there was a lot of reversals, but this felt like a showcase of having Jade Cargill do a lot of strong wrestling things, and that was fine to me because that's what Jade Cargill is. That's what she's a showcase for, that kind of athleticism, things of that sort. The switch powerbomb moment that happened, that was kind of crazy cool, and then the Jade effect. But I was hoping that we would get a little bit of an inkling of Naomi enjoying it, Naomi wanting it, Naomi wanting to be punished. But I think that Naomi's not done at WrestleMania, and then she's definitely going to be a factor in that triple threat for the ladies going forward into night 2. Jacob Fatu and LA Knight, one of the biggest surprises of WrestleMania for the United States title. This is one of those matches that it still fell into a very TV type kind of standard kind of way, but it added that WrestleMania moment, that spectacular moment that LA Knight did have last year with Logan Paul. This time, stopping Jacob Fatu's moonsault with a BFT was insane, and protecting LA Knight's BFT by having Jacob Fatu put his hand on the rope was great. I think when you're looking down at it, when Solo Sikoa didn't come down to the ring or appear in a black hoodie, this felt like it was going to be a showcase of look at our new superstar, Jacob Fatu, to the casual world, to the rest of the WrestleMania audience. Like, dog, this guy's legit. This guy is amazing. He's a freak of nature. I think Jacob Fatu has looked better in different matches, especially in earlier matches, but this was a great first showing at WrestleMania, and it's a great thing to be able to beat LA Knight. And I think LA Knight looked great and didn't hurt him in any way. So it was a win-win all around. And this is definitely the coming out party for the Jacob Fatu. He's definitely going to be the future of WrestleMania and headline all those future Manias. The Samoan Werewolf mask was really cool. Grande Americano and Rey Fenix. For those who don't know, Rey Mysterio was billed to fight Grande Americano, but he got hurt, and I think that affected the finish of this. It was a quite surprising finish to see Grande Americano win. I think Rey Mysterio is going to be that guy that ultimately beats him, and considering that the WWE just announced that they acquired AAA, which is a Mexican, one of the biggest promotions in Mexico, their CMLL, which is sided with AEW, and then they got a AAA with the WWE. I think you're going to see the Grande Americano get his comeuppance there in front of a Mexican crowd, which he's going to probably be one of the biggest heels in a long time. Get that real heat and hate towards him. And I think having Rey Mysterio beat him there will be much more meaningful than at WrestleMania 41 for Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix had a great showing. I like the heel tactics that Grande Americano did with the loaded plate, the loaded mask. And I like that he was, did the Chad Gable ankle lock, and that was a really cool finish. And the inverted 450 that Grande Americano hit was insane. This was another one of those matches that had that WrestleMania vibe to it, like that aftertaste. Like, I love it. Picasso. But then you have Tiffany, Strat, and Charlotte Flair. Now, this match started off, this is for the women's championship. Now, this started off what I really wanted to from these ladies. A little bit of sloppy, a little bit of shoot wrestling where you think like they really want to brawl at each other. But then it just lost steam. And it was very sloppy. And there were some moments that you were hoping for it to kick into a different gear. And one of the criticisms I would say for this night is the fans really sat on their hands a lot until the main event. And I don't know why. This is the second time it happened. Even Philadelphia sat on their hands. I don't know if it's because the fans that are buying all the tickets on camera or in front are just, they're so expensive that I don't know. It's a weird thing to say, is that those are not real fans. They're paying their money, but they're not really rowdy, right? You look at WrestleMania 18 in Toronto, and that's a rowdy crowd. That's a crazy crowd. But the prices weren't that crazy at the time, even with inflation. So the whole time I was wondering, and my watch party was wondering, it's like, what is this crowd being dead for? And I'm like, well, it seems to me they're just waiting for the main event. And you can't blame them, because this card in night one was, some of it was undercooked. And at the same time, the feuds didn't really weekly television built out. Like LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, sure, on paper you want to see that, but they didn't really have that much barbs towards each other. Jay Cargill, Naomi was the best built match of the night, but it didn't really deliver in ring as much as it was being built up for. And then don't talk to me about New Day and War Raiders. I mean, they did get up for Jey Uso and Gunther, but it just hit a lull in between until it got to Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair near the end. I like how they protected the prettiest moonsault from Tiffany Stratton, and I like that Tiffany went for Charlotte's knee. I wanted more of that, and it felt like we never got to that boiling point that we were hoping for. It kind of played it safe, and Tiffany did go over clean, but it's wild to me that it didn't reach that potential that it had. It had a lot of gas in the tank. And now, time for the main event: Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. Very false finish heavy, very finisher heavy. But what the story that I got from the ring psychology, and we'll save the end part for later, is that these three superstars are freaking equal. They are 1-1. That on any given night they could win, and it's going to take like the world to destroy them. It felt like I was watching superheroes fight, like watching that Civil War, or watching like Superman versus Omni-Man, Superman versus Hulk. Like, it's just going to come down to the wire. It's going to come down who gets the ball last type of vibe. And it was great. I liked the combinations. I didn't like it when it went outside the ring for a little bit, but when it came back into the ring, it was cool. But I love the dance that they were doing, in terms of one guy would get thrown into the other, the finisher would come in, he would dodge, the finisher would hit 1, 2, 3, and everybody had like crazy 2.99 kickouts. Roman had some crazy ones as well. And it felt organic. It didn't feel like heavy trotting, like a Roman Reigns match with the Bloodline, where the Bloodline comes in and you're like, oh my God. It was like, oh my, what's gonna happen next, dude? The tables got exploded. I like the idea of the in-ring moments where Seth Rollins is like, brother, he is not here, one of us. He left us. Let's go ahead and get him. And then Roman Reigns contemplating the shield bomb, like, that was crazy. And I love how it just all organically fell apart in a beautiful way, not like in a bad way, like it fell apart. But one thing that I commented on this build in our Wrestling School podcast, I was like, I want this to be about these guys in the ring. But it's interesting when it's about these guys in the ring, that WWE told us tonight is that it's a stalemate, and there's going to have to be an X Factor. And that X Factor was Paul Heyman. I did predict that there'd be a moment where Paul Heyman will have to choose who he's going to help. And when you look at it from the lens of Seth Rollins, the architect, the guy that's always 2 steps ahead, that guy that learned from Triple H and the Authority that there's always a plan B, that he toys with CM Punk and Seth Rollins. He's like, all right, basically, Paul Heyman, you're going to go in, you're going to pretend to give the chair to Punk, and then you're going to low blow him, ha ha ha, give Roman Reigns false hope. Roman Reigns is going to be jovial, and he's going to think he's going to be able to get me. I'm going to stand here, and then you're going to give Roman Reigns the ultimate false hope, and then boom, you're going to turn on Roman, and then there I'm going to be. I'm going to look at both of them in the eye, and I'm going to be the one that stands on top, in that I fooled you, the great CM Punk, and I fooled you, Roman Reigns. You're all succumb to my plan. And I thought it was beautifully done. I thought Paul Heyman did a great job. I love the commentary as well, and it made sense. Like, the only way that you're gonna find a legitimate loser or a winner in a CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns was for Paul Heyman to be that X Factor. And one thing I would definitely want to point out is why Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins is definitely justified. You're gonna hear this on the Raw after Mania. I feel that Seth Rollins is not done. He could totally interfered in Cena and Cody, because he's out for vengeance, because he felt betrayed. Betrayed because Cody sided with Roman after the whole entire thing of WrestleMania 40. He threw everything away. He threw away Seth Rollins' sacrifices made with his knee. Talked about his stepdad had, was basically couldn't be there for his stepdad who was fighting cancer. Like, all these kind of crazy things that were happening, right? for Seth Rollins, and he still got betrayed, and he was getting booed by the WWE audience. He was the third wheel for the longest time in this Mania buildup, and it only became interesting that, wait, Seth Rollins is a kind of a factor when he started becoming the architect, the messiah, where he started to see through the tea leaves, where he was trying to bend the ear Paul Heyman, and like, dude, look, these guys don't care about you. So it is interesting to see Paul Heyman join Seth Rollins. I don't think it's a situation where Seth Rollins is the future or he needs a mouthpiece. Far from it. It's not a Paul Heyman's guy type, let me go ahead and help you out. I think this is Paul Heyman returning to form as a heel manager to, like, don't ever doubt me, don't mess with me, I'm the wise man. You think you had me cornered, Roman, you think you had me wall buddy CM Punk, but no way. At the end of the day, I'm my own man, I make my own choice, and I'm rolling with Seth Rollins. So great main event, very top heavy WrestleMania 41. At the end of the day, I do feel like this is a WrestleMania build or card that from night 1 and night 2, it's like 1.5. Like, this 0.5 wasn't necessary. Like, I would have loved to have the SmackDown tag team ladder match here at TLC. That would have added that WrestleMania pizzazz. But we'll see what night 2 has in store, and I will definitely make another one of these. Comment down below what you thought about it, and please subscribe to the channel for more of my SanchoWest wrestling thoughts. I bid you adieu. Good night.